Hi students, welcome back to class. Let's continue Evam Indrajit. I think you might have listened to some of the lectures. Now let's come to analysis of Evam Indrajit. So let's come to the themes, character analysis and the title of the play. So in this class, I'll be giving you the major themes in the play, analysis of the character, Indrajit mainly, and the meaning of the title. So let's discuss other aspects in the next lecture. So let's come to Evam Indrajit. So in this play, we can see the following themes. We can see modern man's despair. You might have come across this term many times in literature. So a modern man feels alienated in the society. He feels that he is not a part of the society. He feels that he is alone. He feels a kind of he feels a kind of alienation or a kind of isolation. So that is seen through the characters Indrajit and the writer. So Indrajit and the writer know that there are people around them. They know that those people are pursuing their dreams, but these two are different from the other people around them, and they feel that they don't belong to the society in which they live. They feel like escaping from the society. If you remember Indrajit's conversation with the writer, he feels tired of his studies, he feels tired of the daily activities in the life, and he expresses his wish to run away from the place, a place where he can be free, a place that gives him comfort. So he speaks about his knowledge of geography, and he thinks that he can just run away from this place and he'll be happy over there. You might have seen that event in the course of the play. So he is a man who is not able to be a part of the uh, world, who's not able to be, I mean, he feels a kind of alienation. He does not feel a kind of belongingness to the world. So that is why we see a despair in the despair of Indrajit in the modern world. So he is told by Manasi that there are many norms in the society. One has to obey these norms. One has to follow these norms. And he just asks, but where is the norm that tells that one has to obey all these norms? So he is not able to understand all the norms of the society and why one is bound to obey all those things. He keeps on questioning. So he is a character who cannot fit into the society. The same kind of predicament can be seen in the writer. So at the end of the play, the writer says that he cannot be like other people. Both Indrajit and the writer cannot be like other people. So we can see a kind of understanding, a kind of commonality between the writer and Indrajit. So these people show the modern man's despair because they know that this world itself is a futile world, and the life in this world is again futile life. There is no meaning in the life itself. So when they understand that there is no meaning in their life, naturally they will be gripped by the despair. So that is why they have this modern despair, that is modern man's despair. And I have already told you about sense of alienation. Both Indrajit and the writer feel alienated from the society. They don't think that this society is again a part of their belongingness. Even at the beginning of the play itself, when the writer asks Indrajit his name, he says that his name is Nirmal, and he says that he cannot be Nirmal. He has to be somebody who is different. He cannot be like others. So he cannot actually come to the category of the normal people who follow their pursuits in a normal way, who think that one has to achieve a lot of materialistic pleasures and one has to go along in that way. So he is not that kind of a person. So we see Indrajit finally coming back to that category also, but not completely. But still, he cannot be completely different as he wants to be. So that also we can see in the course of the play. So Indrajit and the writer, so they cannot be completely a part of the society where people are blindly running for the materialistic pleasures. If we just analyze the characters Amal, Vimal, and Kamal, we can see that they are pursuing their goals. They have one or the other goal and they think that they are happy. At least by the thought that they are happy, and at least by the thought that they have one or the goal to be achieved, they are able to cope with the society and they are able to go forward. That is again in their perspective. But when Indrajit looks at them, he does not feel that, he can be happy in such a situation. As the play proceeds, we can see Kamal thinking about business scheme, and Bimal thinking about building a house, Amal taking an examination for the sake of promotion. So they are actually setting up a goal in their life, and they are moving from one goal to another. So when one goal is achieved, they just go for the other goal, and they think that that will give a sense of achievement or a sense of satisfaction. But that cannot be seen in the character of Indrajit. He never feels a kind of sense of achievement, and he moves from one place to another. But wherever he goes, he understands that life is almost the same. So he does not feel being a part of the society in which he lives. That's why he keeps on changing the places of job. At the beginning, he works in a company in Bhopal. Then he gets transferred to other areas. He moves to different places, Calcutta, Meerut, Jalandhar. So many places are mentioned. And finally, he goes to London, and there also we cannot see the Indrajit coming to find a meaning in life. So Indrajit does not come to a meaning in life, and he there also he feels the same sense of alienation. So these two characters, both Indrajit and the writer, they know about the meaninglessness of life. That means they know about the end at the very beginning itself. So as they know the end at the beginning, they are not able to be happy like others. They are not able to fit into the society. They are not able to take the roles imposed by the society like Amal, Vimal, and Kamal. In a way, they think that they are desperate and they cannot be a part of the society, which is again showing a kind of injustice to the people around, and they cannot be happy and they cannot be a part of it. So that is what we see in these two characters. And I have already told you about the futility of life in the context of modern man's despair and sense of alienation. So here the entire play is about the futility of life. It's again like absurd drama. So this play definitely has elements of absurd drama. As you've studied in Waiting for Godot, you know that futility of life is an important part of absurd drama. So the same thing can be seen in this play as well. So it's again a kind of meaninglessness of life. People think that they can be happy by getting very good degree. They can be happy by getting good job. They can be happy by getting married, then getting settled. So all those things are, things that make them happy, and all those things are that give them sense of achievement. But the the problem with life is that once we achieve something, we go for the next thing, and the moment we achieve something, we may not feel the sense of achievement also. So if Indrajit is a character who does not feel the sense of achievement, so he thinks that everything around him is meaningless. So even then, he keeps on trying for meaning. He keeps on trying for to find out the meaning in life. So that becomes a way in life only. That is why he just moves around. He goes to different places. He goes to London. He gets compared to other persons in the play. He is the one who gets foreign education. He has a good degree, but still, after having exposed to the foreign countries and climates and all, he understands that life is almost the same only. Life seems to be a kind of spiral wheel. It cannot be a completely a circular wheel, it's a spiral wheel, because one move comes back to the same position one has started. So there is a futility of life. He feels completely desperate about the life effort, and he even thinks that he has to commit suicide. But still, Manasi gives him assurance, and Manasi and the writer, both of them tell him to go ahead. Usually, people live with one or the other kind of hope. So, some people will be confident in their life. They may have confidence in their own life. They may have confidence in themselves. They may have faith in God. They may have faith in religion. They may have faith in relations. So, they may have faith in some political movements, so some or the other kind of ism. So all these things actually drive people force people to live their life, or they help them to move ahead in their life. But Indrajit thinks that he has lost faith in everything, and he does not find meaning in any of the institutions and any of the relationships. He does not find meaning in everything. When he does not find meaning in everything, he feels completely desperate. So that is again the modern man's despair, we can see. And uh, he does not know what he has to do. There are times when he feels that he has to commit suicide, cannot move ahead, he says. And he just tells Manasi that he has tried to walk on the railway track many times. He has walked on the railway track many times, but he walks on the false railway track, because on that track the train never runs. So that is also seen here. So finally, he only understands one thing, that he has to move ahead, he has to live his life, whether it is again meaningful or meaningless, that doesn't matter here. One has to move ahead. There may not be a sense of achievement, there may not be satisfaction, there may be frustration, there may be despair, but one has to move ahead in life. That is what he understands, that is what his friends Manasi and the writer tell him to do. So that is what he also does in the play. And we can see other sub themes like love, frustration of the youth, injustice. But these things are shown in a very subtle way only. So love, again we can see love between Indrajit and Manasi. But here also we don't see the love coming to a fusion as we think in the conventional way. So here the writer says that if Indrajit and Manasi get united, or they get married, that is one circle, and if they don't get married, that is again another round. So life is just going on in a kind of round and round. There are many stories about such Indrajits and Manasis. So here there is a point when even Manasi doubts whether they may have the same kind of love and intimacy after they get married. Indrajit proposes Manasi at the very beginning of his career. After he gets job in Bhopal, he proposes Manasi, and even before that, he tells that once he gets job, he wants to marry Manasi. But we don't see Manasi behaving in a bold way, and she reminds of the restrictions in the society. She speaks about that she is his cousin, and she has to follow the norms of the society. So in a way, she does not come out of the restrictions of the society, and she always she always backs away from taking a decision. So Indrajit in a way is not able to get married to Manasi, but the relationship, the friendship between Indrajit and Manasi remains even after many years, even after Indrajit gets married to another woman. So that is again another Manasi according to the writer. So when he gets married to another woman also, he meets Manasi, the friend, and in their conversation, he is not expressing the happiness or the romantic notion he had about marriage. So he is a person who looks at life in a very practical way, but at the same time who dreams about life in a very romantic way. So he always finds the incompatibility between the dreams and life. So here we can see the love between these two, but this love is not again a thing that speaks about the fruition. So usually people think that in a fairy tale, and they lived happily ever after, as if there is no story to be told. But that is not what happens here. So we don't see the relationship between Indrajit and Manasi coming to the consummation in conjugal love. Yet the love remains. The love does not actually, love is not lost. So they don't know if they get married whether the love remains or not. But the love between Indrajit and Manasi, that is the friend, um, his cousin, so that remains even after getting married also. So it's again a different kind of love. It's not the love we usually think about in the romantic stories and all. Then the next sub theme we can find is again the frustration of the youth. So again, angry young man's resentment can be seen here. So here, he's again a person who cannot understand the things around him, and he feels that the things around him are again very painful and frustration. So he is a kind of angry young man who shows his irritation with the things around him. So that can be seen very much in the play. And injustice also can be seen in the play because they understand that uh, the different kinds of government are not enough to show about the justice in the society. There is again injustice in the society, and he speaks about the unemployment of the educated youth. So that is shown at the very beginning of the play itself. When the writers gives a glimpse of the census of Calcutta and how many are educated and how many are still yearning for job, and uh, their aspirations. All those things are mentioned in the very beginning of the play itself. And here we get a glimpse of injustice in the life of a character named Leela. Leela, a young widow. Leela is a young widow, and she is driven out of her home by her in-laws. Her in-laws gets all the benefits of her husband, insurance benefits, and all the things. And once they get all the benefits of their son, they just throw her out of the house. So we can see such injustice shown to the people around. And then poverty of the child, an 8-year-old boy asking Indrajit to allow him to polish Indrajit's shoe because he is searching for employment. He does not have an employment, and he wants to feed the child that is on his the child he's carrying. The 8-year-old boy has to feed the baby that he's carrying. So the poverty in the society, the injustice in the society that forces even a child to work, the society that forces even a child to feed the younger one. So these things are again the injustices he finds around in the society, and he just thinks, why does he have to obey the rules imposed by the society? So injustice is very much seen in the drama. So he wants to raise his voice against the injustice, but he's not able to raise his voice, and he doesn't know whether that will be of any use. That will be a kind of cry in the wilderness. That is what can be seen in the play. And let's come to character analysis. This Indrajit is a different character. We have already seen that. He is a person who is a different type. That's why the writer also chooses the Indrajit as the protagonist. So it is mentioned that he's different from the common people. But at the beginning of the play, when he's asked the name, he says that his name is Nirmal Kumar Nirmal Kumar. So there, the writer gets a doubt whether he's Nirmal Kumar, because at least he should be different. All cannot be the same. All people cannot be molded in the same mold, and they cannot follow in the same way. There should be some or the other difference. So here, he believes that Indrajit is different. Indrajit is again different from the common people. He does not have aspirations like the common people, and he does not think that those aspirations are the achievements in one's life. He is the one who gets foreign education. I have already told you about that. He gets foreign degree, and he sees many places around, but still he is the one who does not feel sense of achievement. He thinks differently from others. We can see a divergent thinking in the character of Indrajit, and in a way we can say that he is a dreamer. He thinks that this dream, the hope for the future, so that will help him to move ahead. So it is mentioned that he understands that even once one person gets that hope for the future, once one person materializes the dream, even that dream also gets wasted, that also gets lost. So anyway, it's the dream of the future that allows the person to go ahead, and he understands Manasi, uh, and he wants Manasi to be his partner. Manasi, the cousin, his cousin. But again, Manasi is not born like Indrajit to take an action, to step forward. So we can see that love of her not coming, not ending up in marriage. So we can see the dissatisfaction and frustration of the character throughout the play. He's a person who cannot be satisfied with the daily dull routine and dull life. So he is a character who thinks differently, and who wants to uh, see life also in a different way. And he is a character who understands the meaningless of the life. Even at the beginning of the journey itself, he has understood the meaningless of life. He had understood that there is no what is a finality for this journey, and it's again a futile journey only. That is what he understands at the beginning. That is what the writer also understands at the beginning. So we can see him searching for a meaning, and even in his journeys, even in his movement of travel around, there is a search for meaning, but the search for meaning is again in vain only. This is a vain search, and that does not take him anywhere. He does not fit into defined categories. We have seen him questioning about his identity. Who are we? What are we? Where are we? So a number of questions can be seen on the lips of the character Indrajit. Those questions cannot be answered by his mother, but mother just tells him one thing, that once he gets married, all those questions will die. So Indrajit tries to be like other people. Though Indrajit is extraordinary, though he's a divergent person, he has a divergent thinking. He tries to be like other persons. That is why we can see him taking the role of a husband also. We can see him taking examination, qualifying the examination, taking up jobs, studying, working in different companies, moving abroad, coming back, and then like others, he also marries. But there also, he does not find any kind of sense of achievement. He himself says that, he feels that he has to pursue one thing or other, and he keeps on pursuing one thing or other. And once he gets that thing, he does not get that sense of achievement, because once he gets that thing, he loses that pleasure in achieving the thing, and he just throws it away. Once he starts understanding about that thing, and he throws it away. So that is what we find in the character of Indrajit. He is not a person who cannot be completely defined in any way. He is a person who surpasses all the limits put on him. He cannot be defined. He is a person who tries to live his life and tries to find about the meaning of the life. A person who seems to be, character who's torn by the existential dilemma, and who is torn by the thoughts of the futility of life. So, like the hero in the absurd drama, this Indrajit is Indrajit behaves. So Indrajit also typically represents the hero in an absurd drama. And we can see the writer. So at many junctures in the drama, we can see the writer and the Indrajit behaving in the same way, and we can see these two overlapping. So sometimes we doubt whether the Indrajit is writer or the writer is Indrajit, but they are two different characters. But even though they are two different characters, we can see the commonalities between these two. They are not like other people. They are different people. To other people, these people are again the different, who do not know this about the society, who cannot conform to the rules of the society, but still they understand the life in a different way. They look at life in a different perspective. Like they look at life from a different perspective. That is what we can understand about the writer. So he is a character who resembles Indrajit. That is why he gets attracted to Indrajit, and he wants to complete his play. And we know that he starts a play until the very end of the play. He says that he has not completed writing the play. So the entire play seems to be about the writer trying to write the play. And the writer may think that all the things, all the stories he has heard, all the dramas he has seen, all the novels he has read, all those things may seem the same only. And he wants to make something new and something dramatic about the play he is writing. So he has been in the search of that, and he thinks that Indrajit is different, and Indrajit can be the character of the play. So here also we can see him thinking like Indrajit, and trying to understand Indrajit very well, because he shares the characteristics of Indrajit. So let's come to the meaning of the title, Evam Indrajit. Okay, in Bengali it is also called Ebong, E-B-O-N-G, Ebong Indrajit. That means and Indrajit. So what does this and Indrajit mean? So in the beginning of the play, we can see the writer asking four gentlemen their names, and we know their names are Amal, Vimal, and Kamal. So all of them sounding in the same way. And the last one, he says that it is Nirmal. So there, this person Nirmal is not able to say that he is different from others. others. He thinks that being different from others itself is not a good thing. He's scared of telling that he's different from others, and he mentions that in the beginning itself. Though his name is Indrajit, he hides his identity and he says that he is Nirmal. So he thinks that his name also should be like the name of others. He is scared of being different from the common people. He's scared of being different from others. So that's why the writer finally says he also comes to the category of Amal, Vimal, Kamal. He also becomes an ordinary person, a person who has divergent thinking, a person who is different from others, a person who is unique in his thinking and his practices. So he also becomes one of the many people. He also has to follow, he also has to fit into the herd mentality. So that is what we see here. He becomes one among the others. He finally he says that he is no longer Indrajit, he is Nirmal. But again, the writer says that no, he cannot be Nirmal because he is not like Amal, Vimal, and Kamal, who are in vain pursuits of life, materialistic pursuits of life. So that is not vain to them, but those things are vain to um, the writer, because the writer and Indrajit know that those pursuits in life, the materialistic pursuits in life, are not going to give them any kind of happiness. They are not going to give any kind of achievement. They're not going to give satisfaction. That is what they understand. But that understanding is not there in the characters like Amal, Vimal, and Nirmal. Amal, Vimal, and Kamal. We know that Amal thinks about his financial responsibilities. Three of them, all the three actually think about the financial responsibilities, and they think for the career advancement, and what they want to get is again more money. Once they get more money, they think that they'll be able to live happily and they'll be able to take care of the family. So this is what the ordinary man thinks. It's again a kind of cycle only. An ordinary man finishes his education, takes up a job, gets married, thinks about building a house, thinks about setting, finding a settlement for his children. So this is how an ordinary man, a common man lives. So they believe that they are happy with the pursuits in their life, and they go ahead with that thought. In that way, they are able to cope with the society, and they don't. They are not actually bothered about the meaning and the meaninglessness of life. So that is not a major concern for them. But Nirmal, that is Indrajit, is not Nirmal, Indrajit. He is concerned about the meaning of life, and he is the one who loses faith in God, religion, institutions, marriage, even in himself. So when he loses faith in himself, he is not able to move forward. So finally, he understands that this kind of a frustration and pain and despair will not allow him to move ahead. Life is worth living for. Though we may think that it's not worth living for, it has to be lived. So he also has to belong to the group of Amal, Vimal, and Kamal to move ahead in life. If he does not belong to this group, he finds it very difficult to move ahead. Manasi and Indrajit tell him to walk, walk. That walk symbolically means to move ahead in life, to live your life. Though the life may seem painful, though the life may seem not promising, so the life may seem disillusioned. So we can see this character being disillusioned in many parts, at many points of time in the play. But still, only one thing can be done. That is again to move ahead. So they tell him to move ahead. So only that is possible if he also becomes like others. If he also does not think like others. If he is one among the common people, then he will be able to move ahead without bitterness, without frustration, without questioning. So in that way, he'll be able to cope with the society. That's why it seems that he stops the search for meaning in life, because he knows that life is meaningless, and even the search for meaning itself is again a vain attempt. So that is what we say in the absurd drama. The same thing can be seen here. So having realized the futility of life, he tries to go ahead in life. He does not actually search for any meaning in the life. He knows that life is meaningless. He knows the end at the beginning itself. The writer also knows the end of the beginning. But There is no choice other than to go ahead, whether it is happy or good, whether the future is again promising or not, whatever be it, he knows that he has to move ahead in life. So that is how the drama ends. So with that, actually, I'm stopping today's class. I hope you understood the themes in the drama and the character analysis, and the title of the play, Evam Indrajit. Why is it called Evam Indrajit? As I've already told you, he no longer is Indrajit. He becomes one among the ordinary people. He says that he is Nirmal, but still there are some aspects which are not dead. When he is asked whether he is dead, he says that he does not know. So that is the answer he gives. Still, we believe that there are some more aspects which show that he is not completely dead and he is Indrajit, but still he cannot be true in the he cannot be true to himself completely. He has to be a part of the group of Amal, Vimal, and Kamal. Then only he will be able to move ahead without uh, bitterness, without pain, without frustration. He will be able to conquer the society. So let me just conclude today's lesson. Students, again and again, the same thing only I'm telling you. Listen to the lectures. Stay safe at home. Take care.